Hello everyone, this video is about king opposition, okay? And king opposition is very crucial, very important for our endgame technique, okay? The easiest way to think about king opposition is a Mexican standoff, right? Whenever two people are pointing guns at each other, or like they kind of turn and like point guns at each other kind of thing, and whomever like turns first, they win, right? Or something like that. And also like a staring contest, I guess. I don't know, whomever can like turn and like stare first at the other person, they win in this position. Okay, it's not exactly like that, but that's the idea. All right. And how? So obviously you cannot have two kings right in front of each other, like the white king being here on like f6, right? You always have to have one square between the kings, and that's the idea. So for example, if the white king for some reason is able to like make it all the way here on f5, and you're the one doing like getting to that square right in front of the other king, you're opposing your opponent's king, and then you're cutting some key squares for them to be able to use, right? So you're kind of like pushing them to uncomfortable squares where they might be able to lose. All right, so that's the idea. We want to have the opposition on your opponent. Okay, so for example, let's see. Okay, let's get started. So king f3. Okay, king f3. Imagine here in this case, if the king goes to g7, if you go here like king g4, you're not having opposition yet because we have two squares in between. We have to have one square in between. All right. So for example, here, like the black king can just go king g6 and they're opposing our king. They have opposition. They go like, boom. They have the gun, right? They're like doing the staring at you. Okay. So that's the idea. Like they're opposing our king. And let me actually turn the evaluation on for this one. So ideally in this, let's go from the beginning. This endgame here is a draw. It should be a draw. It's a theoretical draw. And because of king opposition, the concept, right? So we're going for this, and they're opposing our king. They're having opposition on our king. They're keeping the draw. So we can think of like, if you're able to keep opposition on your opponent, then you are winning. You're having that advantage. In this case, black cannot win because they don't have other pieces. They only have the king. So their best result would just be to draw the game. But white, if we are precise and your opponent makes a mistake, if you keep opposition with white, then you should be able to win. Okay, for example, let's go back. Imagine, yeah, we go king f3, and imagine they go king f6. We can see the evaluation bar going all the way up, right? It's because now white has opposition on the black king by going with king f4. King f4, and we're opposing the black king, and we're winning. And I'll be able to show you why. But let's imagine here we go king g4, and it goes back to a draw because the black king can do opposition on your king. They can oppose your king because it's cutting some key squares for them, for your king, right? So that's the idea. We want to be the ones doing the opposition, doing like the gun, like, you know? So that, like here, boom, king f4, we're doing opposition, we are winning now. If they go like something like this, like king g6 or something, we can just like, we can do even opposition here. King g4, we're opposing the opponent's king. Let's say they go king g7. You know, in this position here, we can do opposition, or we can actually like also use like king f5 because we have extra turns. You can think, oh, they're doing opposition on us, but you have a pawn. So here you don't have to move. You can just start pushing your pawn forward, right? So if they go, let's say here, you can just do king g5. Now you do opposition. If they go king f7, we have king h6. And we're cutting some squares for the king, and then we start pushing our pawn forward as well. What if they go king g8 here or something? We have g5. King f7, let's say. Now we have king. We even have this one. It's so good. King h7. And they cannot really do anything because we can just start pushing our pawn forward, right? And we will be able to promote into a queen and be able to give a checkmate pretty soon after. Okay. So let's say here, let's go back here, and we can just push our pawn forward. For example, here we push our pawn forward, we draw the game again because they can give us opposition here. So remember, we want to be the one doing the pointing of the gun, I guess, you know, like boom, the staring first, opposition, one square from the other king. So here we blunder a win, because now if we push our pawn forward, they can just go like king g7, because if we go king f5, they have king f7 doing the opposition on our king, keeping the draw. We push our pawn forward, they have king g8, and then if we go here, like on f6, they have king h8. If we go with king f7, that's just a stalemate, because the pawn covering here, and that game just ends in a stalemate. Yeah. So what if we go with like g7? Now they have king g8, and if we move our king away from the pawn, they can just capture our pawn, and that's just insufficient material. That's just a draw. But if you want to still keep your pawn defending it, now you're cutting all the squares from the black king, and that game just ends in a stalemate. So we have to be careful. That's the whole point of opposition, right? Opposing your opponent's moves, right? So let's go back here. Okay, so we go there, and they want to keep the opposition on your king. Like, what if they go king g6? What do? You see the evaluation bar going up, right? It's because we have opposition. And then let's say they go king f6. Now we start cutting squares again, right? They go here, we can just oppose the king, right? h7, we can go king f6, cutting squares. What if the king goes here? We just push our pawn forward. We don't have to get too excited moving the king forward here, because that will just be a blunder of the win, because now the black king can just go to g5, g4, and then capture your pawn, right? Because by going to g5, it's cutting your f6 square, and then your white king cannot get back in time to defend your pawn, right? So here we have to be careful. We can just like push the pawn forward. What if the king only move for the king? h7. We can actually just push the pawn forward to g5. The king, let's say they go there. We do opposition. We don't have to get too excited. Like, remember, what if we go here with g6? They can do opposition on us. Remember, whomever can do the opposition first, they are having the advantage towards whatever they can do, right? Like the black pieces here, they can draw the game. White pieces, if we do opposition, we're winning the game. Okay? So we have to be careful here. We have to always keep that in mind. Boom, opposition, and now we're winning. Because wherever they go, you're going to go to the other side. So if they go, let's say king f8, we go king h7, and they can only do like, let's say king f7 or something, and then we just push our pawn forward and promote into a queen, and then be able to win the game from there, right? I hope these instructions made sense. And if you have any other questions, you can always post your questions on the comment section down below. I am pretty active. I usually respond right away to any questions, concerns in the comment sections. Okay, so remember, we have our different social media platforms. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, Facebook. All of them have the CoachVChess username, so you can always follow easily like that. And yeah, I hope this was very helpful for you, understanding a little bit more about king opposition, and be able to spot these little mistakes and advantages that you might have, and you have to capitalize on to be able to win your games. Or if you're in the end of like the black pieces here, for example, be able to spot these little mistakes from the white pieces for you to be able to get a stalemate or a draw. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next video.